Let's begin with the professor's ploy. What in the world is the professor's ploy, right? Well, he says some professors are fond of taking pot shots at Christianity with remarks like, the Bible is just a bunch of fables, right? And he says well-meaning believers sometimes take up this challenge and attempt a head-to-head duel with the professor. Right. Now notice, the Bible's just a bunch of fables. That is a claim that the professor has made, right? And as we have been learning, if a person is making a claim, it's their responsibility to defend it, not our responsibility to defend against it.
Right.
At least not initially, right?
We say that they have the burden of proof for that.
Right.
They've made the assertion. Now it's up to them to be able to defend that.
Yes. And so he says, well-meaning believers sometimes take up the challenge and attempt a head-to-head duel here, right? He says, don't make this mistake. It's right-hearted, but wrong-headed.
Right. Yeah, you can launch into all the facts that you know. The first chapter of new evidence that demands verdict. You can have it memorized, and you're constantly giving out fact after fact, 5,000 manuscripts and attestation, and here's the way that it was translated through all these centuries, and here's the different types of issues that we can run into, and here's all the counterclaims to that, and all the professor has to do is go, nope, that's not true.
That's not.
Well, okay, but now we have to use the Columbo tactics in order to put him in the burden of proof seat.
Exactly, and that's what he tells us. We just use our Columbo questions at this point and let the professor explain himself or herself, right? I mean, they've made the claim, so we ask the question and allow them to be the professor.
Right, yeah, that's what you're paying them for.
Right. But he says that there's a ploy that can be made, right? It's a pitfall. It's a distraction, right? It's intended to kind of derail our efforts.
Right.
And so the professor may sense our maneuver and then try to turn the tables on us, as it were. And so he says that the professor might say something like this. Oh, you must be one of those fundamental Christians who thinks the Bible is the inspired word of God. Okay, I'm a fair man and we have a little extra time. Why don't you take a moment and prove to the rest of the class that the Bible is not filled with fables? Whoa.
Yeah. Okay, now go.
Yeah. And we do have a little time, so yeah. In 2 minutes, prove that the Bible is not filled with fables. Right? So now what do? Right here, the professor's kind of turned the tables on you after you've asked him a few Columbo questions there, right? Now, so Greg Koukl tells us we shouldn't take the debate. You know, the why don't you prove me wrong ploy is what's going on here, right? No. We should shift the burden back where it belongs on the one who made the claim. After all, you haven't made any claim yet.
Right.
You've just been asking questions.
Right. I mean, you might think that this is the perfect opportunity to present the gospel. This is your one and only shot to talk to 30, 150, however what the size of the room is. You've got your facts, he's got his, and you're given the last 2 minutes of the game to make the push for the gospel. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's probably not going to be your best tactical route to take.
Right. Since he's in control of the microphone, so to speak.
Right. Yeah.
So we shift the burden of proof where it belongs back on the one who made the claim. He's the one that made the claim. He is the one, or she is the one that's responsible for backing up the claim they made, not you being responsible for proving them wrong. Mm-hmm. Right. And so he suggests we respond something like this. Professor, I actually haven't said anything about my own view. For all you know, I could be on your side. My own view is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter what I believe. I'm just a student trying to learn. I'm asking for clarification and wondering if you have good reasons. That's all.
Right. And this is chemistry class. What are we talking about this for?
And so, so what we've done now is put the burden back on the professor. right? Because the professor tried to put the burden on us,
Right.
and we haven't even made a claim, right?
Right.
And so we just admit it. I haven't really said my view. I'm just wondering, I'm just asking questions and asking you to clarify what you're saying.
Right. You're kind of playing hot potato with the burden of proof. And what you've said is, no, I didn't ask for this. You're the one that lit the potato on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so, if he gives an answer, thank him for explaining himself and either ask another question or you let it go for the time being. Right.
Yeah.
And so, we don't need to be afraid to question our professors. Go figure. Right. So let me say that again. We don't need to be afraid to question our professors. In fact, that's what we should be doing. Questioning our professors. Right. They're the ones that are, as you said, being paid to be able to answer the questions, right?
Yeah. They have the knowledge. We don't.
Yeah. So challenge them on their terms, though, not, on our terms, right? Not on their terms. And, of course, we're to do it with grace and respect and tact, right?
Yeah, and that's what the questions are designed to do. You're going to shift the burden of proof back onto them, which is originally theirs to start with, and you're going to ask, how do you know that, and what do you mean by that, and how did you come to that conclusion?
Exactly.
And because that person's a professor, they've probably done this 100 times before. There might be something within those questions that you're asking that you're going to get an interesting education on.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, like you said, they're the professor for a reason, and hopefully they have something to teach you. And even if you vehemently disagree with it, you can utilize that time to come up with a proper understanding from their perspective of whatever information that they're. Hopefully this isn't just coming up in, a conversation where you're reading Romeo and Juliet and all of a sudden there's a soliloquy in there about, God being dead or, what have you. So hopefully there's an exchange of ideas that you can get out of this and you can still drive maybe, with the little bit of time you have left, a conversation that might challenge that. And so for the people in the class who are listening, that they can kind of pick up that the professor's being challenged, and they might come to you afterwards and ask follow-up questions, or you might end up dealing with it throughout the rest of the semester.
Yeah, good. So he says, whenever anyone, professor or otherwise, makes a controversial claim and then says, you prove me wrong, don't play their game, right? Don't let them make you do the work that they should be doing. They made the claim, right? So here's the principle that he wants us to understand from this. He says that you are in control of your side of the conversation. You don't have to allow yourself to be dragged into a compromising position you do not want to be in. Don't be nasty or defensive, but don't allow yourself to be bullied. When you stay in the question mode, you're in the safety zone, right? So you're in charge of your side of the conversation.
Yeah.
Right?
So as long as you don't stand up in class and say, Jesus is Lord, everyone here will burn into hell, then no one can use the Columbo questions against you.
Yeah.